Yahoo Fantasy Football, the Tucson Tackle Dummies League, has completed Week 8. This is going to be an abbreviated quick take. I'm sorry, guys, but had a pretty busy week so far. It's going to keep being busy the rest of the week, so I'm just going to try to jump right through this. Let's start with the first game of the week, the Dasani game of the week. The Pain Trains knocked off Jammed Toe in a battle of 1 versus 3 going in. These two teams now first and second after the game. Pain Trains knocks off Jammed Toe 127.82 to 108.5. Pain is now 6-2 with the victory, even at record with Jammed Toe. Toe wins tiebreaker based on points. Pain Train's the winner of 5 straight games now, while Jammed Toe sits 6-2 with the loss, but is still the league's top team, having scored the most points so far this season for Toe. Numerous players were on a bye this week, so Pain Trains could not have caught Jammed Toe at a better time this season. Toe had to use a lot of fill-ins. Those players also underperformed, including Seattle's Mike Williams, who scored just 2.95 points, and Blair White, the Blair White Project out of Indianapolis, 1.8 this week. However, Toe did get a team high from the other Mike Williams at wide receiver. Tampa Bay's Mike Williams had 17.5. For Pain Train's strong defensive performance against a strong defensive team, 4 players were in double digits. Jammed Toe scored 39.5 points on defense. Pain came back with 47 on defense, so really good performance there. The team high score for Pain, Larry Fitzgerald with 21.7 points at wide receiver. He had probably his biggest game of the season, despite the Cardinals' quarterback struggles. Also in action, Bucknuts knocked off Herbie TG, 108.1 to 79.42 for Buck. 5-3 now with a 2-game winning streak after being taken over by new ownership. And Herbie sits at 2-6 with a 3-game losing streak on its hands. Buck had an empty tight end slot and 3 players on a bye and still came away victorious, scored 19 points total on defense. 14 of those came from James Laurinaitis alone. Herbie left a defensive back slot empty and scored 21 on defense. So Herbie actually outperformed Buck on the defensive side. Bucknuts had 49.5 points, though, from 2 running backs, Arian Foster and Ben Jarvis Green Ellis. Foster had a game-high 24.95. Herbie had a team-high 15.55 from Chris Johnson, while the other 2 running backs that he started scored just 2.55 combined. Also in action, DM2 Carp knocked off Greek Thunderball 95.97 to 67.35. Carp 5-3 overall now, just a game out of first in the Caballero division, while Greek is now 4-4, sitting last in the Toro division, but is now the lowest of, or is, I should say, on the positive side, the lowest team to currently be outscoring its opponents. Greek has actually outscored his opponents overall throughout the season, and is actually behind 2 teams in his own division that have been outscored by their opponents to this point. So a really unique situation for Greek, sitting at 4-4, 11th overall. For Carp, just 4 players beat projections in the victory. Team nearly 30 points below projections this week and still walked away the winner. Team high 18.35 from Andre Johnson. For Greek, just 3 players beat projections. A game high 19.75 from Terrell Owens. And that 2 tight end set that's been so successful for Greek so far this season failed miserably this week as Anthony Fasano and Vernon Davis combined for just 5.8 points. Defense was an ugly battle. Carp, usually strong on defense, scored a rather mediocre 28 points, but beat Greek 28-6 in defensive scoring. Greek left the Chicago defense in on a bye and definitely did not help his cause. AZ Chargers knocked off Shots in another game this week, 114.04 to 84.86. Chargers is now 5-3 and a game out of the lead in the Toro division, while Shots sits 2-6 and the loser of 3 straight games now. Chargers had 7 players beat projections and 5 players in double digits, including the surprise Josh Freeman with 17.32 points as the quarterback of the Tampa Bay Bucks, and then started 2 running backs from the San Diego Chargers, Darren Sproles and Mike Tolbert, and those combined for 34.48 points. So that actually wound up being a successful strategy for Chargers. Also, Lance Moore at wide receiver scored 14.49 points. Chargers started 2 other wide receivers who combined for just 6.7. And then the Green Bay defense for Chargers scored 18 points this week. Shots' entire defense scored just 21. Shots left a kicker, a team defense, and a defensive lineman in on a bye. Randy Moss had a miserable week this week. had just 1.05 points and then was promptly pretty much fired by the Minnesota Vikings this week. And then just 3 players beat projections for shots, but did have a game high. Tight end Jason Witten, 18.2 points. Also in action, is this the CFL knocked off my Dirty Boys, 102.26 to 56.6. CFL is now 4-4, is last in the Wildcat division, but has won 2 straight. Dirty Boys, 1-7, last in the league, despite being the least scored on team in the league. So you'd think Dirty would stumble their way onto some victories, and unfortunately they just have not. CFL, a game high, 21.45 points from Adrian Peterson at running back, and then quarterback Phillip Rivers had 19.5. CFL overcame the fact that they started Dexter McCluster and Porter, not Terry Porter, I can't figure out why I can't remember his name now. Tracy Porter, there we go. And then Dirty had just 2 players beat projections. Michael Bush with 16.85 points, and the San Francisco defense had 9 points. The rest of the defense, just 0.5 points. Dirty had a quarterback and 3 individual defensive players inactive this week, and then 2 more players on a bye. So 5 players returned 0 points total for Dirty Boys in the loss. Also in action, Delicious Pancakes knocked off Polax, 157.12 to 107.96. Pancakes with the win, 5-3, leading the Wildcat division on points. Polax 3-5, and the loser of 2 straight, and is still 2 games back of Sixburg in their division. Polax with the loss. 7 players beat projections, though 2 players on the roster were on a bye, and 3 players scored 0, so that's most of the roster right there. Polax did have a team-high 17.6 from tight end Mercedes Lewis. For Pancakes, 10 players beat projections, 9 players in double digits. Game-high 19.55 from the once-again questionable Antonio Gates. And then 19 points at kicker from fill-in kicker Dan Carpenter, who appears to have taken over the starting job for Delicious Pancakes with the 19-point performance. And then 3 running backs started for Pancakes combined for 38.3 points. So definitely an offensive explosion for the highest scoring team of the week. The second highest scoring team of the week was Inglorious Bear Jew with 143.21 points, knocking off Diabetes, who scored just 93.9. Bear Jew now 4-4 and 3rd overall in the league in scoring. Diabetes 2-6, 3 games out of first in the Aztec division. Bear Jew, 6 players beat projections, team high 25.65 out of wide receiver Brandon Lloyd, who came out of the darkness after having a miserable performance last week. 46.16 points from 3 wide receivers combined. And then Bear Jew had the breakout star of the week, LeGarrette Blount. You might remember him as the guy who punched a Boise State player following a game when he was going to Oregon. He actually scored 23.4 points for Tampa Bay this week at running back. Diabetes, though, game high 30.35 from Calvin Johnson, having his starting quarterback in Detroit back. That definitely helped him score more points this week. However, the rest of the offense scored just 30.95 points. And then 3 players total scored 0. And Diabetes also started a quarterback on a bye. And in the biggest blowout of the week, Big Ben's Revenge knocked off Sixburg, division-leading Sixburg, 114.87 to 64.38. Big Ben now 5-3 is the highest-ranked non-division leader and would face Sixburg if the playoffs started today. So this could be actually a preview if Big Ben is never able to overtake the Wildcat division leader, Delicious Pancakes. Sixburg now 5-3 with the loss, has lost 2 straight, but actually still leads the division by 2. That division right now is atrocious. Big Ben won defense 29.5 to 2.5. Big Ben had 28.97 from 2 wide receivers and a team high 24.8 from running back Jamal Charles. Big Ben also got 20.8 out of Jason Campbell. Sixburg had a game high 25.48 out of returning quarterback Matthew Stafford. This is the first time all season Sixburg has had a quarterback go from start to finish in a game. The rest of the offense, though, Matt Stafford contributed 25.48. The rest of the offense, 36.4. So really not a whole lot of help elsewhere. Berg had 4 players on a bye and 3 more score 0. That's half the team contributing no points. Looking ahead to next week, week 9, Jammed Toe is the top team in the league, going to be taking on number 7 AZ Chargers, and the only other matchup between 2 teams currently in the top 8, Carp is 6th in the standings, going to be taking on 8th place Bucknuts. In other action, number 2 Pain Trains will take on number 14 Herbie. Number 3, Pancakes, will face off with number 15, Diabetes. Number 4, Sixburg, will take on number 10, CFL, and what is very likely to be an upset if all goes well for CFL there. And number 5, Big Ben, will take on number 12, Polax. Number 9, Inglorious Bearju, gets the worst team in the league, my Dirty Boys. And number 11, Greek, will take on number 13, Shots. So not a whole lot of surprises this week in Week 8 action. All the scores were pretty one-sided. The closest matchup was by just under 20 points, and everybody else lost by a considerable amount. And we're really looking to see that happen, probably the same thing again next week. So we'll look forward to see you back next week for Week 9 action in the Tucson Tackle Dummies League.